The most recent episode of SmackDown ended with Paul Heyman seemingly helping Solo Sikoa win over Kevin Owens in the main event. Solo Sikoa, however, had threatened Paul Heyman early on in the night, and Dutch Mantell didn't feel the moment was logical. The show-closing match this week saw Solo Sikoa take on Kevin Owens in a predictably chaotic affair. Randy Orton also returned to help KO against the Bootleg Bloodline before the show went off the air. Before the match, Solo Sikoa warned Heyman that if he lost to Owens, the wise man would be to blame, and he'd have to face the consequences. Heyman eventually tried to influence the main event, breaking up a pinfall attempt when Owens was set to get the 3 count over Solo. A distraction seemingly engineered by Paul helped Sikoa secure the win over the former Universal Champion. While reviewing the show on Sportskeeda Wrestling Smack Talk, Dutch Mantell said Solo Sikoa threatening Heyman didn't make sense and was a weak excuse. "I'm glad you explained that because I completely missed that. If you lose the match, why are you going to go after Paul? I didn't get that, and it's still a weak excuse to tell you the truth." 26:25 onwards, Paul Heyman has been visibly reluctant about Solo Sikoa's growing influence as the self-proclaimed tribal chief of a new-look bloodline. WWE has reaped the rewards for its patient storytelling around the Samoans. Rest assured, Heyman will play a big role in how the current arc ends. Paul Heyman getting threatened by a top WWE superstar doesn't make sense, says Legend, exclusive. In the grand tapestry of professional wrestling, few figures loom as large as Paul Heyman. The mad scientist of wrestling has played a pivotal role in shaping the landscape of sports entertainment, both in the ring and behind the scenes. Known for his silver tongue and strategic brilliance, Heyman is a figure of respect, fear, and awe in equal measure. This is why the idea of him being threatened by a top WWE superstar seems so incongruous to many within the industry, especially to one wrestling legend who shared his thoughts on this scenario in an exclusive interview. The legend in question, a towering figure in wrestling history with a career spanning decades, sat down for a candid discussion about the current state of WWE and its narrative directions. When the topic of Paul Heyman and the recent storyline involving a top superstar threatening him came up, the legend didn't mince words. "Look, Paul Heyman is not just a manager or an advocate. He's an institution," the legend began, his gravelly voice carrying the weight of countless battles and experiences. Threatening Heyman doesn't make sense on so many levels. First, you have to understand who Paul Heyman is. This is the guy who took a bankrupt ECW and turned it into a cult phenomenon. He's the guy who transformed Brock Lesnar into a mainstream monster, who guided CM Punk during the most crucial phase of his career. Threatening Heyman is like threatening the very foundation of what makes WWE's narrative compelling. Heyman's career is a mosaic of strategic genius and audacious moves. From his early days as a promoter to his role in shaping ECW's hardcore legacy, Heyman has always been ahead of the curve. His keen understanding of the business, combined with his ability to mold and elevate talent, sets him apart from the usual managerial archetypes in wrestling. He is, in many ways, the puppet master behind some of the most significant wrestling moments of the past few decades. The legend continued, "When you think about Paul Heyman, you think about someone who's untouchable in a certain sense. Not because he's physically imposing, but because his mind is his greatest weapon. He knows every trick, every angle, every nuance of this business." A superstar threatening him would have to be incredibly calculated, because Heyman is not someone who gets caught off guard. In recent storylines, however, there have been instances where top superstars have issued threats to Heyman, ostensibly to heighten the drama and stakes within the WWE universe. But to the legend, these narrative choices feel forced and unconvincing. There's a certain believability factor that gets lost when you see someone like Roman Reigns or another top star trying to intimidate Paul, the legend said. Reigns has the physical dominance, sure, but Heyman's value is in his mind and his ability to maneuver out of tight spots. If anything, it should be Heyman orchestrating threats, manipulating situations from the shadows, not being the target of threats himself. The essence of Heyman's character is his cerebral prowess. Unlike other managers who might rely on brute force or sheer charisma, Heyman's strength lies in his Machiavellian tactics. He's the chess master, always several moves ahead of his opponents. This is why seeing him in a position of apparent vulnerability can feel discordant to longtime fans and insiders alike. Moreover, the legend argued, such narrative choices undermine the complexity of Heyman's character. When you reduce Heyman to a mere victim, you strip away the layers that make him fascinating. He's not just some guy standing in the corner of the ring, holding a microphone. He's the brain behind some of the most unstoppable forces in WWE. To see him as anything less is to miss the point of what makes Paul Heyman, Paul Heyman. In the hyper-theatrical world of professional wrestling, where larger-than-life personas clash and epic storylines, maintaining the integrity of each character is paramount. Heyman, with his decades of influence and innovation, is a cornerstone of this world. To threaten him is to threaten the very fabric of WWE's rich narrative history. The legend's insights highlight a broader issue within wrestling storylines, the need for coherence and respect for character integrity. Fans aren't stupid, he said, leaning forward for emphasis. They know when something doesn't ring true. And seeing Paul Heyman threatened just doesn't ring true. It's not about protecting Heyman, it's about protecting the story, the believability. Heyman should be the one pulling the strings, not having them pulled on him. As the interview wrapped up, the legend left with a poignant reminder. Wrestling is about storytelling. It's about characters that resonate, that feel real even in this larger-than-life world. Paul Heyman is one of the best storytellers there is. Let's not diminish that by placing him in roles that don't fit. Let's keep him where he belongs, in control, always one step ahead. In the ever-evolving world of WWE, where scripts and storylines can shift in an instant, maintaining the authenticity of characters like Paul Heyman is crucial. As the legend pointed out, it's not just about one man, but about preserving the rich, intricate tapestry of professional wrestling storytelling. And in that tapestry, Paul Heyman's role is clear, the mastermind, never the pawn.